back, everyone, to a brand new Getting Color right here on the BigVitoBrand.com. I am Virtue, and that is the head of the table on the Big Vito brand. Hell, you were the head of the table when you were over on No DQ too, Vito. What's up?
How are you doing? And thank you guys.
Good.
Thank you for being patient. It is great to be back. I know my friend Virtue is very sad that we weren't podcasting the last few weeks, but guys, life takes funny bounces, and we're just taking care of Miss Noel. So hopefully this is the start of us being up and running. I want to thank everybody for all the positive wishes and thoughts and the social media vibes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate it. This has not been easy for us, and I wish it on nobody. And it just goes with saying, in life, guys, is you have a partner, and when you're sick, you expect your partner to be there. When you're down, your partner picks you up. I've been picking Miss Noel up for the last 7 years. We're married, you know what I'm saying? And plus. So always cherish that partner you have. And Virtue, I know you go through some of the same things I go through. It's an emotional thing. It's you don't like to see your better half suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to be tough, guys. It's handling life. But thank you very much.
And we get through it, one day at a time.
One day at a time. I know you have some beefs with me. I've been ready. I got my arguments set. You go ahead and shoot it my way. Let's go.
Okay. So we'll talk since we missed last week. We'll talk about WrestleMania first. So let's focus on the good and the bad of night one. What I remember from night one, obviously, was the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Right. The KO show did turn into some type of a match or a brawl where there was a bell. Stone Cold reigned supreme over Kevin Owens. We also had Charlotte remain champion over Ronda Rousey, and Bianca Belair won the Raw Women's Championship from Becky Lynch. And there were other things night one as well. I'm not one that's going to come out here and say this was awful, bad. Wrestling fans and whatnot on social media point out bad more than good. So you, from being a wrestler in the business, you can say good or bad from night one, whatever's on your mind. I just wanted to share those moments from night one, kind of entertained me. And Logan Paul and The Miz was kind of, I don't know why the turn after the match, but Logan Paul held his own as a celebrity. What did Vito think of night one of WrestleMania?
I thought night one of WrestleMania was fabulous. I thought it was very good, very well put together. Let's start off at the top. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kevin Owens. Guys, you couldn't have got better than that. I mean, that was main event, and it pulled through. I mean, it had everybody on his feet. That's what everybody wanted to see. They gave them what they wanted, right? Now, Stone Cold Steve Austin, if he did come back full time, I would like them to see him be general manager of Raw and SmackDown. This way you get both shows. It looks like they're going to unify all the titles. So having one general manager for both makes sense. Let's go to Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair.
Oh, and Vito, just so the chat knows, I did not forget about Seth Rollins and Cody. I wanted this to lead to that when you were done.
No problem.
Yeah.
We got I thought that was a very good match. It gives back Bianca Belair some credibility that she lost. I thought that was an excellent way to do it. WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Now they can build something on a trilogy of WrestleManias. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. I thought that match missed. It just didn't click in my book.
What I think, Vito?
Go ahead.
Ronda's just not comfortable as a babyface. And it was just weird. You know what I mean? Charlotte's a heel, right? That's what she's best at. It was a weird pairing. for them too.
I
Just thought
think,
that was weird.
guys, I just feel that Ronda not getting the title put a put a bug in her. I think it bothered her that she was not going to win the title at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Just like her not being UFC Women's Champion, put a bug in her. You know what I mean?
Do you
And,
think she was a little? We've seen Becky Lynch back for a while now,
right.
and she had a baby.
Mhm.
Ronda did too. Does Ronda seem like a half step off from when she was here last time? It's something, just a tad, just something's off a little bit this time.
Guys, you got to remember something. When you're going strong and your rhythm is good, and you're doing it night in, night out, year in, year out, your performance is always 10 times better from when you come back. When you come back, you lose that edge, you lose that instepness. Maybe things aren't crisp. It takes you a while to attain that again. So being off, I think Becky Lynch is leaner
Oh
now
yes,
than when she was champion before. Ronda Rousey is not in Ronda Rousey fighting shape.
yeah, that's what I yeah.
Okay. So there you go. There's the difference. Um, I think the Miz and the Mysterios and Logan Paul, I thought that was good.
Yeah,
I was, at Logan Paul, we could all say what you want about him,
he got
you
heat.
know, but the guy performed at WrestleMania. He didn't look like a slouch. He's 24 years old. He's athletic. He's a good looking kid. Could he make it in the wrestling business? Yeah. Yeah.
And WWE is looking for people like him. They've made that known. They want
Yeah.
to see athletes and celebrities cross over more than how NXT was bringing in indie guys. I mean, that's what they want.
I think that as far as the Mysterio tag team, I think that Dominic Mysterio is just in a place where he doesn't pull the weight. He doesn't have the look. He's in his father's shadow. It just is not, that kid misses. And it's no disrespect to him or Ray or the wrestling world. When you're there with your father, not everybody lives up to their father's expectations. And he's trying to hang with his father, and he just does not have that look. I don't believe in anything he does, and neither does a lot of people. So look for a split coming out of that. Hopefully, turning it into Dominic Mysterio being a heel, a la um, Owen Hart against his brother, and maybe that'll snap into it. But if that doesn't happen, I could say, thank you for coming. You're not missing anything when he leaves.
And I could see that. And I could see that happen. Now, night one, he did return, Cody
Okay.
Rhodes.
Hmm.
And I know there was a lot of talk, obviously when he left AEW, how he was being used there, how he wanted to be portrayed, just wasn't clicking with that fan base. A lot of questions were in place on how he would be received once he came back to WWE. Now it's early, and you are one of those that will say, well, when you want to leave the company and you come back, they'll get you in the end. So
Hmm.
that's going to be something interesting down the road if that happens. But right
Right.
now, they gave him a big spot night one of Mania against Seth Rollins. They put on a classic, and Cody Rhodes came out the next night on Raw, cut a pretty emotional promo about his dad never winning the WWE title and that he wants to go for that. He's back here after everything he did outside of WWE, and I know you're kind of a critic of his, right? And you're not the only one.
Now, here's my
What's
thought
your
on
take?
it.
What's your take on Cody Rhodes now officially back in WWE?
I thought the match was okay. It wasn't stellar. When he came up, did he get the pop that he showed up? Yes. Does he look like a killer in the WWE? No. He looks vanilla. The one thing he said made clear, and I want everybody to listen to this. He wants to come back and be Cody Rhodes. He doesn't want to be Stardust. He doesn't want to be Dusty's son. If you don't want to be these things, why did you become a hypocrite and use your father's legacy to get over on Monday Night Raw and say, I want to win this for my daddy? You just took away everything you just said on how you want to be perceived in a wrestling business. You shouldn't mention your father. You shouldn't breathe about your father. Did you want sympathy and you're trying to get over? But you just said you came back to be Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. And here you are trying to be Dusty Rhodes' son and win the title for my father. Which one are you?
He's lumping it all together. So I've told you he's going to get pushed early against the guys like the Rollinses.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get pushed up to that title level. And he's going to be fed to Roman Reigns for a match or two on Roman's path to, we'll talk about that. Now it's interesting because Roman has 2 titles. Do they figure out a way to take one of those titles off of Roman? They could put it in a triple threat. I don't even know if WWE knows what they're going to do with these titles yet. But Cody mentioning that he's interested, he wants the WWE title. He's going to get up there. Now, I know you're going to say they're not going to put it on him. I have a 50-50 feeling that they could. And I don't know. It's
but they did.
Vince McMahon brought him back and is probably paying him 7 figures. And he doesn't do that with just anybody.
He paid a lot of people a lot of money to come back just to get back at them. Money is no object.
Remains to be seen. I get it. There's a track record of that. So
yes,
we'll have to see. But Cody's back now. And we're going to be able to talk about this almost every week.
Yeah, but we're going to be able to talk about. But guys, does he look like a mega star like Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar?
No, but against all the other semi-main event guys,
you mean to tell me
he looks like Rollins and Owens? Those are the other guys they push that's not named Lesnar or Reigns. So he looks like one of them.
Does he look like he could beat Bobby Lashley? Does he look like he could beat the bro kick Sheamus? Does he look like he could beat the other guy, the other Irishman there? No. He'll be a good storyline. He'll be fun to look at. But as far as being the face of the company and being able to carry it in the lines of Cena and The Rock and Austin and Angle and all those guys, he's not even in that company.
And we're going to have to see how they book him. I mean, right now, we don't really even know. He's fighting The Miz on Raw tomorrow night.
All right, but he's going to fight The Miz, right? Somebody his size. That he's with The Miz, and Miz is a mega star, right? And Miz basically makes stars. And Miz is very good, and Miz can carry it. Miz is a former world champion, several titles, got a show. He is everything that Cody Rhodes wants to be in the wrestling business.
And we'll see. I mean, he got back to WWE. So, again, it'll be interesting to see if that happens of, hey, we're going to push you up to bury you. So we'll see. We got to get to night 2.
Go ahead.
Now, I was highly entertained night 2. Like it kicked off with a tag team title match.
Right.
RK Bro, a couple nice RKOs. I was entertained by that. They did that little spot afterwards with Gable Steveson, and I know you're going to pick on him and his look, and I'll give you a comment on that. Maybe he shouldn't have even been on TV yet, but he's fresh off of the real amateur wrestling. I enjoyed the Knoxville Sami Zayn match big time. I know it's comedy time, but I was entertained by it, and I know a lot of people who don't watch wrestling that saw it that were entertained by it. Those are potential new eyeballs. Pat McAfee delivered. I think he's the biggest baby face in wrestling. I know he's an announcer. I know he doesn't have your wrestling physique, He was trained by Rip Rogers. He seems like he knows what he's doing in the ring. They kind of maybe overplayed that a little bit when they got McMahon in the ring, and Vince just, it was comical because he was so old and he botched stuff. The stunner was awful, but it happened, and it people were watching and talking about it, right? That's the name of the game. I mean, whether you're making fun of it or not, the match with Austin Theory was still very good. And then, of course, the main event. To me, they called it the biggest main event ever, not the greatest. It went short, Vito. I had to go back and look. Brock Lesnar, for some reason now, ever since he beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, he gets a lot of short matches. I mean, his match against Drew McIntyre was like 5 minutes. Seth Rollins, and this is at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins, it was 2.5 minutes. That Goldberg match was another short one. Brock works short matches at WrestleMania. I don't know if Roman got hurt. That's what fans speculated, but he doesn't look like he's hurt. Some people think Brock got hurt. That match ended early, and a lot of people were disappointed. But to me, Roman getting the 2 titles was all that was about. What's your take on night 2 of WrestleMania? I was highly entertained.
Okay. Let's start off with the tag title match. Excellent match. No complaints about it. No complaints about it. That was a beautiful match. Way to start WrestleMania.
Yep.
Gable Stevenson coming in. Guys, there are times when you're taking your shirt off and you're supposed to be somebody to be reckoned with. If I was to see him on the street, he doesn't look like no superstar. If you've seen him on the beach, he is the average Joe at Walmart. He might be a great collegiate wrestler.
See, they can't bodybuild while they do that. They have to, it's more of a natural weight. And granted, he's a champion, an Olympic gold medalist.
Yes.
What should have happened if transitioning into wrestling, they shouldn't have put him out there yet. He should have trained for months, right, to get that physique. So I will agree with you on that.
If you sit, he was out there with those guys who were ready and primed and looking good, right? And then he comes in there, takes his shirt off, and he suplexes somebody. He didn't look like a world champion. He didn't even look like a gold medalist. He just did not fit. And they're promoting him because of the gold medal. But when you take your shirt off and you got to go out there, Kurt Angle was in tip-top 100% shape.
He got in that shape. He was done with amateur wrestling, and it took him months before he showed up on TV, and he got to that pro wrestling shape.
Look at who's the guy he suplexed?
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable. And Chad Gable is a legit wrestler. Chad Gable looked like a gold medalist, not this guy. It turned me off so bad. I was like, no.
Well, I'm dubbing him the next bigger thing. And I think he's going to get the rocket strapped to him, but we'll see. What else on night 2, Vito?
We had
Jackass.
Say it again.
The Jackass match.
The Jackass match. I'm not a fan of those matches. A little bit of comedy, a little ha-ha. I'm a wrestler, but I get it's a different type of world. Yeah. Like I said, some people are entertained by it. I'll let it go. I just pass on that. Pass for me, personally.
See, I had more people that didn't watch wrestling talk to me about that. And that's what I'm saying. WrestleMania had something for everybody.
Right.
And that was proof.
The McMahon, the Austin Theory, McMahon getting in the ring. Okay. It served its purpose. But when you don't belong in the ring no more and you have no business being in there, Vince McMahon has no business being in the wrestling ring. He might look good and he might still look like, he's jacked and everything. The way he did that stunner and fumbled around and made it look so bad, that was a black eye on, I'm the owner. Imagine if Tony Khan did that.
Just give it time.
No, but what I'm saying is the repercussions of him doing that would be 10 times worse
Yeah, that's
than
true.
what Vince got.
But like what I pulled out from that whole thing is McAfee is a star. I mean,
Yeah,
dude, he
he
even
did. He did.
saved that by coming in the ring after the botched McMahon stuff. He came in and did the little exchange with Austin, and he took a good stunner, and it kind of saved it. It saved everything. And granted, he's probably only going to ever be a part-time special attraction announcer guy, but he's entertaining as hell to me, man.
No. Main event time. Brock Lesnar.
Oh, before that, any comment on Edge and AJ Styles? It was kind of just
That's why I passed it. When those guys get in there, I just don't have no interest.
they're doing some dark stable with Edge. Obviously, that's basically what that was all.
The
about.
new brood. So it's coming.
Priest.
They said that it's a copy of what's going on in AEW. Is that true?
That's what people are. That's what the AEW fans are claiming and whatnot. But I mean, let's be honest. Is it really? I mean, Edge did the dark vampire gothic stuff '99. So, way before anybody knew those other guys existed. They were still babies back then. So yeah, it's not a copy. I mean, could somebody in WWE say, "Hey, let's mock that"? Because you know how they like to do that kind of stuff. But I'm not looking at it that way. To me, it's something for Edge to do, right? And that Undertaker's retired, no Bray Wyatt. You need to have some type of dark gimmick, and here it is with Edge. They always do that. Vince McMahon always has to have his dark gimmick. But anyway, moving on. It happened. Roman got the 2 titles, and he's not hurt people. Like, first of all, Vito, he had a mat burn or rope burn or something on his arm. People were saying he sold the Kimura lock. His elbow, his shoulder was never popped out. It was never popped out of the socket. He would have been on a sling on Raw. When he was holding the title up gingerly after the match, dude, he knows how to work it. He is perfectly fine. Now, if Lesnar got hurt, he masked it very well. We haven't seen Lesnar, and we might not for a while. So that match could have got, because Lesnar was favoring his gut and groin in the middle of that match. And there was a point Lesnar forgot to turn around into a spear, and Roman kind of hit him in the back. Lesnar seemed off to me. Again, he could have been working us too. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here. They went hard at the very beginning, they could have roughed each other up.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Lesnar and Rousey, they compare them both a lot. You think Brock was mad because he didn't get the title win?
So knowing that he was going to lose, maybe he mailed it in towards the end there or wanted to go home early? Is that what maybe? Is Brock that kind of guy? If Brock ever did that.
They did it with Goldberg. You forget, everybody. He did it with Goldberg.
I feel if Brock ever mailed anything in, it was the pandemic WrestleMania where he only went like 4 or 5 minutes with Drew because he didn't even want to be there because it was coronavirus. I don't know, man. What do you think?
Body language says a lot. And when you come out aggressive like that, when you're going to do the job, you make sure you let people know I can kick his ass anytime I want. And it was evident he could do it. Towards the middle of the match, you saw, all right, reality is set in. I got to start to play ball. And then when you say, okay, that's enough, let's go home. What could you say to the other opponent? We're going home, or else I'm going to take it home and I'll fucking beat you and I'll take the title. Believe me, it's happened.
What now, of course, with the fans going back and looking at every little still frame of a match because they can, at the end of the pin, Brock's arm was under Roman's neck and it showed the squeeze.
Right.
You're a wrestler. Was that, there's one of two things. Was that, I just want your interpretation of it. Was it just right time? Maybe he didn't even realize his hand was there and he was coming to pull it back. Was it a respect? Hey, the ball is in your court now. Was it checking on him because maybe he thought Roman was hurt or telling Roman he was okay if he was hurt? because it's on the internet and fans are speculating Brock was checking on Roman. I don't think Roman got hurt, but when that stuff happens in the ring, was that a salute? What do you think?
Guys, it could be 10,000 things. Could be he had a nervous issue at WrestleMania. Nobody ever said that yet. Everybody is an analyst on wrestling work and signals and this
Oh
and
yeah,
that.
yeah, I know. I've never
Right?
noticed it. The reason why I'm talking about it is because everyone is tweeting about it.
Guys, they could all tweet about it. You know, guys, everybody who thinks they know really doesn't know unless you do it. I'll give you, for instance, right? Night I work with Terry Funk on Nitro, and
Yep,
I won the I won the hardcore title.
yep.
I did that pile driver through a table on him. That's a big responsibility. I could have killed him. You know, nobody ever said Vito did this or Vito did that. I've covered him. Yeah, I made sure he was okay. But nobody ever said anything about it. They all said, "Oh, wow, man, this is good." But
Yeah.
I did my part, and my part was to protect him. So it's it's what you want it to be. Let's not speculate. Hey, listen, if it was a pat on the back, good job,
That's what I think.
congratulations,
You're the man now. That's what
you're the
I'm thinking.
man.
Yeah.
Hey, do you don't think, like I told you, the greatest WrestleMania match, in my opinion, is The Rock Hogan, right? You
They
listen to
have a
that.
crowd in the palm of their hands.
There will never be a match that tops that of two mega stars. That will never happen in our generation again.
And they didn't have to do anything ridiculous. It was their bread and butter, their normal routine, what The Rock does and what Hogan does. And yet the people were so invested.
And if you had to listen to the crowd meter, that crowd was for Hogan. They didn't want The Rock to win. You never go down with the history.
Yeah.
You never go down with your heroes. But that crowd, if Hogan would have won, there wouldn't have been anybody to say that was a bad call. The place would have come unglued. The place would have been. It could have been a riot in that place. I mean, The Rock needed that to be the man. But if Hogan won, he could have been the man for another couple years.
Yep. And he still did some stuff after that as
Oh,
well.
he did.
And Rock went on to have another solid year or two and busted out into Hollywood. So
You know, if you were to take another WrestleMania match that I find that could have been parlayed into something,
mhm,
you look at Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair.
yep.
Now, if Flair would have won that match, would anybody have beefed because it was that good of a match? And if they would have gave Flair another title run for 6 months, would anybody have said boo? No, because they were all riding the streak. They were all invested in it. They were all caring. If Ric Flair beat Shawn Michaels, hey, that's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Hulk Hogan. Nobody looks at those guys like that anymore unless you were wrestling against them or grew up, or I can't say really grew up, but came up in the industry with them to say, that's Hulk Hogan. That's Ric Flair. That's the guy Skull Von Crush met in 1991 when he came walking down the locker room, bigger than anything you ever seen in your life, shaking everybody's hands. The first time I met Hulk Hogan, hey brother, what's going on? He shook everybody's hand. I shook his hand. I was like, wow, it's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And you're walking around, and you're saying, there's the Ultimate Warrior, there's Bret Hart, there's Legion of Doom, there's everybody who you could think of is backstage. 1991, The Rockers, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, the Honky Tonk Man.
Savage was still there.
Yeah, Savage was still there with Elizabeth.
Yep.
Bobby Heenan, Mean Gene Okerlund, all the greats. And here I am as a kid, and I'm like, wow. I still remember it in my head. I'm thinking about it now when they had the meeting and I was in the dressing room and I'm standing there and all you see these giant men. The Warlord was tremendous.
He was huge.
And you're just looking and you're saying, holy shit. Look at the size of these men. The Ultimate Warrior's skin was so paper. His stretched skin was so paper thin. That's how shredded he was. And he was 285. It's just this Don Morocco shoulders. Everybody wanted Don Morocco shoulders.
Hercules had big shoulders.
Hercules Hernandez was another man you looked at and you just specimen.
Mm-hmm.
You just, and here I am coming in there. I'm going to kick someone. Whose ass was I kicking at that time? Not fucking nobody. And that's the truth. You just like, I was a boy amongst men. I'll say it. I'm not ashamed of it. That was a wake up call. Say, shit. Look at Typhoon. When I wrestled Typhoon, that's another big man. Different era, guys. Could any of the wrestlers, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
We're going back to 1991 when I broke in.
Okay.
Could any of these guys coming in today fit in with those guys back then?
I mean, man,
Would you say
like I'll give you, okay, let's look at the main eventers. Like Bobby Lashley could.
Okay.
Okay. Brock Lesnar could.
Yeah.
Roman, I would think, would be like a tag team partner with somebody in the tag team division.
Right.
I'm being honest.
Because you had Rikishi
Yeah.
and they had the Samoan team, SWAT team.
Sheamus, maybe. He would have had a unique look, being like, the pale. I mean, who do you think?
Who you just said.
Yeah.
Yes. If you had to put Cody Rhodes in that mix, he'd be the water boy.
Yeah, Jobber. Gable Steveson would be a jobber on Superstars.
But the guys who are wrestling today wouldn't even get the dark match to be anybody. They wouldn't even get the build. They would be enhancement talent, period. When we went for TVs, there was the Double and Destroyer. Anybody remember the Double and Destroyer?
I vaguely do, yes.
Peter Weeks, Lord Alfred, Peter Weeks, right? You had Big Guido, everybody, Mike Iorio. Okay? I'm going to use those three guys. They were tremendous. They were bigger than me. Do you know that they told Mike Iorio, 6'6" of him, they told him not to come to TV ever again? Do you know why?
Why?
He wrestled Bret Hart. He dwarfed Bret Hart so bad.
Oh.
It was so ridiculous. They said, you can't come. We got nobody for it. And then a few years later, when Sid was doing it, they gave him a tryout match to see if he could take Sid's place because he had the same body, the same curly hair, the same look as Sid. He just could not get over the hump.
Sid's brother said.
Right. Said.
Dude, that's vicious. Classic. Vito, anything is anything like we covered WrestleMania pretty much this show. So we'll have more topics for when we come back next week. Do you want to add to this with anything on your mind in the world of wrestling or anything? Because I didn't even get that in this week. We didn't have time. We were talking about WrestleMania.
I have a message for people out there. Okay. Guys, there were some things going on in the past couple weeks that, when you're wrestlers and you got private lives and you got a bunch of stuff. And I say this very respectfully. You have moments where you get angry and you have moments when you're upset. And a lot of times social media could be your worst source, and no matter how hurt you are, or no matter what situation you're in, you always try to keep your personal life away from pro wrestling. Not everybody is 100% correct. Not everybody is a gentleman and not everybody is a lady. There's a lot of things involved. But you always try to keep yourself as a lady and gentleman. And when the public or the media or the fans get a hold of it, they can be pretty hard on people because they don't understand because they're not involved. Guys and girls, if ever there was a lesson, keep your private lives private. If you really have that much of a beef, you talk to your partner. If you really think it's that bad to where there's abuse, domestic violence, or something, call the office. Go directly to the source.
That's true.
Nobody likes to be abused, and a man should never put his hands on a woman. I believe that 100%. Um, and if you're in that situation, not just in wrestling, but in real life, guys, get some help. Go sort that help. Go cry for help. There are people who will help you, you know. And for all those going through a little bit of a rough time, think about what I said. You don't have to put up with nobody's shit. You ain't got to take nobody's abuse. Everybody's a human being and an individual, you know. And good luck to everybody out there. And thank you again for the well wishes, especially my partner here. He sent messages, and he was. I have to say, for our staff at the Big Vito brand, a lot of guys don't talk too much. They check in with me every now and then. They say, "Hey, what's going on?" I don't speak too much. I enjoy this crew of guys we have, and I can't thank them enough being patient with us. And you know what, guys, behind the scenes, we all do care about each other. So we're a team,
Yep.
and we're friends. So that's the way I'm going to end it today.
Well said. So, you know how we do this, folks. We'll be back again. We'll do some more Getting Colors. We'll let those new wrestling topics come in post WrestleMania. We're going to have a lot more to cover. I needed to get this WrestleMania talk because so much happened, and we got that out of the way today. So be sure to follow Vito on Twitter at the Big Vito brand. Follow me if you'd like at NoDQ_virtue. Be sure to check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Big V Mafia. For Big Vito LaGrasso, I am Virtue, and we will see you again next time right here on Getting Color and the BigVitoBrand.com. Good night.